I would say, like, anybody that's thinking about at any point raising kids or building a family, one of your most critical and key skills is leadership. That I'd say that's a life skill for that particular person, because now when you raise kids or you build a family, other people are impacted. They're blessed or burdened by the decisions that you make.
What would you say is some of the biggest differences in how you lead now versus how you would have led, let's say, 20 years ago?
Well, 20 years ago, I don't probably wouldn't lead anybody that's trying to lead me 20 years ago. Right. I don't know how good I was doing at that 20 years ago.
You was married though 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, but I was like freshly married. So like literally I graduated from college in May, and then I got married in July. My wife was my college sweetheart. So
wow. Okay. So she ain't know no better.
She didn't know no better. She really didn't. She really didn't. But no, it was all good. But I would say, I think one of the greatest differences, I think, with me as it relates to that now, is probably going to be, I am way more objective than I think I would have been 10, 15 years ago. And what do I mean by that? I mean that I've done this long enough to know now that people are always going to be people. And there are never excuses to justify people wilding or doing something crazy, but there are always reasons. And so it's important to dig a little, to not get too high on the highs, not get too low on the lows when it comes to people, not jump to assumptions and conclusions because of successes or mistakes, but to remain objective. And if there's failure, somebody's underperforming, not doing what they're supposed to do, look past excuse, try to find the reason, because if you deal with when you find the reason, you're gonna find the root of the problem. Yeah, so that's one of the things I think I'd say.
So you said that, you were at the, I guess, beginning of your leadership or being intentional about learning leadership at 20 years ago, or were you even intentional at the time you got married? Was it even something that was a concept in your mind, leadership?
It wasn't. No,
okay.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Now, would you recommend that? Like, for a man, do you think a man should have at least studied up on leadership as somebody who has made it this far in his work in leadership?
100%. I think it's a life skill.
So you need it in every field.
I think you need it in every single area of your life, and especially anybody who's thinking about like building a family or something one day.
Men and women, or is this, you talking to the men right now?
I'm talking men specifically. I think it applies to both, right? I don't think leadership is relegated to one gender, obviously. I don't believe that. But I'm saying specifically for a man, because I am one, and so I feel more comfortable talking directly, you know what I mean,
right,
to a man. I would say, like, anybody that's thinking about at any point raising kids or building a family, one of your most critical and key skills is leadership. That I'd say that's a life skill for that particular person, because now when you raise kids or you build a family, other people are impacted. They're blessed or burdened by the decisions that you make.
So when you're in this relationship and you want to, pretty much exude whatever, this high level of leadership, how do you get the family, particularly your spouse, to buy into it?
Yeah, so to me, this is why I just feel like the leadership skill is important, because like some of the same stuff that I would do in my company or in my church, it applies to my house. Because if it's truth, it's portable, right? So if it's truth, it's transferable. So for me, this is what I say. I say leadership is influencing people, influencing individuals or organizations toward their purposes. So as a leader, you may be in authority, but if you always got to use authority, you're not leading well. You want to influence. See, authority gets you compliance. Influence gets you buy-in, which is what you really want. Authority make people follow. Influence make them want to follow. In the company, you can make them follow because you're paying them.
Right.
Can't make them follow you at home, bro. Right? So leading in the home is, to me, like, it's the highest level of leadership, because in order for it to work, you got to be the greatest version of yourself as a leader because you're dealing with people who know the real you. And so to be able to lead people well in the home is the highest expression of leadership because a wife know everything. She know the dirty laundry. She know you leave your socks on the floor.
All
She
your
knows,
weaknesses.
yeah. She knows all of that, man. So, the key is how can you raise your level of influence where the people in the home trust your character enough. That means they feel safe with you. They don't feel exploited, abused, etc. And they trust your competence enough, meaning you got a track record of good decision making. Like so some people want trust and they don't have the track record. Like love is freely given, bro. Trust is earned. So you got to have a track record of good decision making. And when that takes place, the character and the competence with the decision making, I think it just increases the influence in the home. And so the woman now trusts you enough to feel safe enough to allow you to lead.
Now, see, that's a good point. So how does a woman actually recognize that she's working or dealing with a man who's a great leader?
I'm going to go back to the two things I just said earlier, because these are like the two most important parts of leadership. Your character. Now, when I say character, I think people think like good, bad, moral, immoral. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that's not important. Of course, ethics is important. I'm talking about character, bro. I'm talking about traits. I'm talking about traits that you need to acquire or increase in order to be the kind of person that people want to follow. Like you would be a good person, and I want to follow you. Like we was talking about that earlier when we was talking about people that you were talking about people being financially free and financially put together and how that impacts your willingness to follow them. They could be like, you'd be like, yo, this is the nicest person in the world. He broke though. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, I might want to talk to you, but I don't want you to.
No advice.
I'm not gonna take no counsel.
I ain't taking no advice. So I feel like when I talk about character, it's like, yo, is it these traits? So whenever you say, like, if you like, yo, I admire buddy, you're talking about traits. You don't even know him. You're talking about traits you see in him that are admirable. And so it could be decisiveness, it could be resourcefulness, it could be focus, it could be discipline, it could be resilience. And so it's going to be traits. Now it's going to be certain. Now I can't speak for all women because I know I start going here and people are like, no, that's not me. So I'm not speaking for all women.
It's always going to be exceptions.
Yeah. Right. But generally speaking, this is one of the things that I found to be important. And in the religious space and the non-religious space, all my business is people. That's all I've ever done is people. I'm in a people business. So I'm not saying my opinion is right, but I'm saying it is informed. Because so here is what seems to be one of the greatest or traits that seem to matter, at least with the women that I serve with the most. Consistency.
That's a big one. That's a big one because I got a lot of texts that say you inconsistent. And I'm like, yo, I'm busy. What's going on? But that's a good one.
So give me an example of exactly what that looks like.
What consistency?
Yeah.
So I could,
especially in the eyes of a woman, for her to recognize that you're a good leader.
Yeah. So consistency, one, in communication. So I'm not even saying consistent is frequent, but consistent is consistent.
Gotcha.
So determine that. All right. Because what does that say to her? That says to her, buddy not going to leave me in the dark. Like, because if you don't fill in the blank, the devil will. So it's like, so consistency in communication. I think that's going to be like super important.
So that's when you communicate and how you communicate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It is. So exactly. It's like when you communicate, are you communicating like on a regular basis?
Got you.
But is there consistency in the way you communicate? So am I getting a dude that's like wilding out on me on Monday and then, talking slick or whatever on Tuesday and then, you sweet on Thursday.
Right, okay.
So that lack of consistency creates insecurity. It doesn't mean she insecure as a person. It's just like, it means she don't feel secure with you.
Yep.
And so, yeah, consistency in communication. Here's another one, bro. Consistency in responsibility.
What you mean by
is this person responsible? Now, so I'm not talking about like money and stuff like that. I think that's part of it. And we can talk about that later if y'all want. But like, do I feel like this person is, she's probably thinking, do I feel like he's responsible enough with his own life that I can trust him with mine? Like, it don't matter how it's like, oh, he fine, but y'all can't see each other, the lights off. You can't see it. So I feel like those, you know, that's an example to me of like communication, responsibility, and consistency in meeting whatever those needs are. Those love needs, right? Because love's got languages.
Right.
Right? So love's got languages, and she's wondering, is the person I'm with accurately interpreting what my love language is? And are they willing to consistently meet that language? So if my love language is affection, do I have to worry if I'm gonna be with Buddy long term, whether or not I'm gonna be on a roller coaster getting that? Because here's a fear. If you tell me this the only grocery store I can shop at, then don't tell me you ain't gonna put what I need on the shelf.